Hey everybody, it is almost Valentine's Day, which is actually my favorite holiday. We all know scent and perfume can have many powers. Fragrance has been used for its ability or its power to lure, seduce, arouse the object of one's affection. Perfumers will create a fragrance with this in mind, using properties that are known for this ability to arouse or stimulate the senses. We all want the ability to be able to attract or intrigue others, primarily those that we care about. That being said, Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and personally, it's one of my favorite holidays. In honor of this American holiday of Valentine's Day, I decided to create a review or a small collection of fragrances that are known for this ability to, we'll say, captivate the audience of the wearer. Trying to keep this family friendly, guys. But basically, these fragrances are considered aphrodisiacs. Or flat out are fragrances that are meant to smell like, sex. So if you're interested in fragrances that potentially could cause you to become even more attractive to those around you, or might stimulate some arousal, then please get a notepad to write these titles down, because we're getting into it. Side note, these fragrances are also just lovely fragrances. They are all considered niche perfumes. They're very artistically blended to create a truly unique fragrance, so stick around. To be honest, all of these fragrances are samples. I do not own any bottles of the ones that we are discussing today, not because I don't want to, but simply because they are expensive perfumes and I can't own everything. If you are also interested in sampling any of these fragrances that I speak of today, please look down in the information section of this video and I will list a few of the Decant websites that I personally use when I'm interested in just trying to sample, as opposed to blind buying or jumping in and buying a fragrance. As always, whatever I speak of in a video, the link to it will be listed in the information section of my video. The first one we're going to talk about is actually one of my favorite fragrances. I got the big sample, which is I think a 15 milliliter, and the fragrance is Narcotic Venus by Nasomatto. Nasomatto Venus is a fragrance for women. It's considered a floral fragrance. It was created by Alessandro Gualtieri. Sorry, Alessandro, for butchering your name. The fragrance was created as a product of a quest to capture the overwhelming and addictive intensity of a woman's sexual power. To me, it truly is the epitome of a feminine fragrance. It is very floral. I think it's a perfect level. I mean, it's not too light and airy and whiffy, and it's not too bold and overpowering, though it does borderline on that point. The notes in this fragrance are tuberose, lily, jasmine, and spices. So just from reading the notes alone, you know that this is going to be a very floral heavy fragrance. That tuberose, the jasmine are very strong in this fragrance. I think when you first spray it, it's a little bit more on the sweeter side. You have that essence of tuberose standing out a bit more, but as it dries down, more of the jasmine comes out. This fragrance has an awesome longevity. I believe it lasted me almost the entire day at work. It does, of course, die down as the day progresses, but it stays pretty strong. In terms of the sillage, I'd say it's moderate to large. Like I said, this fragrance does borderline on a bold floral. So I definitely, if you are scent sensitive, would check out trying it before you commit to a full-size bottle. But it truly is a beautiful, beautiful fragrance and does truly capture that essence of femininity. To the best of my knowledge, Narcotic V or Narcotic Venus is only available in a 30 milliliter. It runs for 185 American dollars. The fragrance was released in 2008. I'll list some links in the information section of where you might obtain a sample, or if you're interested in purchasing a full bottle. I'm not sure what department stores it is sold at, but I know it's also sold at Lucky Scent, so you'd be able to purchase the full size there. If you're interested in a strong, floral, feminine fragrance, definitely check out Narcotic Venus by Nasomatto. And if you've tried any of these fragrances and they actually worked as chick magnets or male magnets or aphrodisiacs, I am interested to know. The next fragrance we're going to speak of is by Initio, and it is Absolute Aphrodisiac. Absolute Aphrodisiac by Initio Parfum Prive is considered an amber spicy fragrance for both men and women, so it's a unisex fragrance. It was created in it was launched in 2015, and the nose behind the fragrance is Alexandra Kosinski. The notes in this fragrance include vanilla, amber, castoreum, leather, musk, and white flowers. I am not really a leather note lover in a fragrance, and so I will honestly say that that note does not stand out to me in this fragrance. If anything, it just gives it a little bit more of an edge. When I first spray the fragrance, I smell more of a honey scent. I think that's more the amber mixed with the vanilla, but like a hint of woods to it. It's a very intriguing fragrance. To read you the clip around Initio's Absolute Aphrodisiac, I have to read it word for word because you gotta just hear it straight from the source. The softness of vanilla intimately intertwined with the animal potency of musk and castoreum. A powerful fragrance that obsessively reminds you of the other, a truly aphrodisiac essence. I struggle to say whether it does lean more feminine or more masculine just because it does have that sweet floral nature to it, but it also has a definite woody, brute masculine essence to it. It's a really intriguing fragrance, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. Initio fragrances as a whole have a very strong longevity. They will last you through the day. It's a stronger scent, so the sillage is going to be a little bit more bold. It's so funny, if I was guessing the notes in this fragrance, I would say honey, vanilla, perhaps patchouli, and then the musk and a floral note. So I am actually surprised to read the notes because a couple of them that I guessed aren't even in it. Being that it is a more bold fragrance, I would consider it more of a fall to winter fragrance, so it's a perfect time of year right now to be wearing it in these cold February days. Initio fragrances as a whole are high quality niche fragrances, so they're a luxurious scent. It's very intriguing. I recommend that you check it out and let me know what you think when you do. The next fragrance we're going to speak of is, I can honestly say, probably one of the most unique fragrances that I've ever experienced. It is by Akro. I was lucky enough to be sent the Discovery Set of Akro scents by So Avant-Garde, so thanks So Avant-Garde for this. And this fragrance truly took me on a ride. The one that we're speaking of today by Akro is called Night. Night by Akro is considered a wood spicy fragrance, again for both women and men. It was launched in 2018. The fragrance artist who created it, Olivier Crisp. The notes include cumin, Bulgarian rose, saffron, and agar wood, which is oud. Night is said to bring you back to a moment of desire. The inspiration for this fragrance basically is a one-night stand. Apparently a really good one-night stand because the memory of it lingers in your mind when you should forget it. Not my words. Summary of Akro's description of the fragrance, Night. The way that the cumin and the rose blend in this fragrance makes it a very musky scent, and it basically smells like clean body odor. And then that's not to say it smells bad, like bad body odor, but it smells like, yeah. That's about all I can say on it. Smelling it really is an experience. I don't know that I would say that it's arousing, but then it is in a way because it does remind you of experiences. The Discovery Set itself, if you were interested in this at So Avant-Garde, it runs for $32. They commonly have sales. I hope to someday have my own discount code for y'all, but gotta grow a bit more before I get to that point. But Night, a 3.4 ounce bottle of the eau de parfum is $160. Again, I will include the link below. I definitely recommend that you sample this fragrance before you commit to it. I think that it has a bit of an acquired taste. To be honest, once the cumin dies down a bit and I don't get so much of that body odor scent, it has a musky, warm kind of grounding feel to it. Akro scents do have great longevity. I think they have decent sillage. I think this fragrance would work easily in the winter as well as in the summer. I just would probably apply less in the summer, as that it is more of a heavy weighted fragrance. So again, Akro Night. The next fragrance we're going to speak of is by Veronique Gabai, which I actually want to do a whole other video just speaking of her fragrances, because they're unique in that she also creates like jewelry with them. So you can get the perfume bottle, but it's hung like a tassel necklace or a lariat necklace. She also creates pairings. So with the fragrance, there's also two others, Eau de Joie and Eau de Night. You can layer with your fragrance to make it more of your own, or to just switch it up from the norm. I also really like her fragrances because a lot of them are, y'all know how I love the beach. I love anything aquatic, beach related. And a lot of her scents are, they're reminiscent of the Mediterranean, the ocean, the beach. I really enjoyed that part of her fragrances. She also uses a lot of ethically sourced ingredients in her perfumes, which I think is also really important. The fragrance that we're speaking of today is Le Pointe G. I'm just going to read the Veronique Gabai website description of this fragrance. G-Spot, a climactic perfume. The kiss of a rose, caress of white musks, the soft bite of leather, the intense passion of vanilla, woods, and amber. A vertigo of the senses. This perfume is built like a vibration, a pulse, a crescendo. It grows on skin and adds a new facet to the previous one as you keep going back to your skin until it reaches the full completion in an exhale of pure pleasure. This perfume is vegan. Interesting end there. It's like cold shower. The notes in this fragrance are pink pepper, rose, iris, vanilla, white musks, leather, and cedar wood. Fragrantica considers this, or lists this fragrance as a leather fragrance for women. It was launched in 2021. I would disagree. I don't think that it smells anything of leather. As I said earlier in this video, I am not a leather scent lover. I would consider it more of a musky rose with the bite of the pink pepper and the tonka bean. I think it's a very round fragrance. It's not airy, it's not aquatic, it's smooth. It's smooth and creamy like milk. It is an evolving fragrance as you wear it. It starts off with more of a bite, and then it's rounds out with the white musk and the cedar and the amber, the vanilla and the tonka beans. To be honest, this fragrance, the first time I smelled it, I thought it was intriguing and it was a bit different. The name of it honestly was a bit of a put off for me. I've worn it a few times and it's really grown on me. The sillage isn't, I'd say it's a weaker sillage. It's also a weaker longevity. I have to carry it with me and keep reapplying throughout the day. That isn't necessarily always a bad thing. It can be more of a skin scent. It can be more of an intimate scent when you have those movie dates or those snuggle on the couch dates where you don't want a bold fragrance. You don't want to blow them off the sofa. You want them to have a reason to snuggle closer. And this is a great fragrance for that. On Veronique Gabai's website, it's listed as a musky floral woody scent. So there you go. For an 85 milliliter of this fragrance on the Veronique Gabai website, it retails for $260. And we are nearing the end. We have two more, and both of these fragrances are by Fragrance du Bois. The first one is Cavort. Cavort Extrait de Parfum by Fragrance du Bois is considered an amber floral fragrance for both women and men. It's a fairly newer fragrance. It was launched in 2021. The top notes of this fragrance are saffron, cinnamon, davana, and geranium. Middle notes ylang ylang, rose, orange blossom, and jasmine. Base notes patchouli, incense, sandalwood, and labdanum. Being that this is an amber fragrance, it is again one of those round, smooth fragrances. I think we have a bit of a theme today with that. Apparently, aphrodisiac scents are more of a grounded, which makes sense. I mean, they lull you, they slow you down. Kind of that moment where, and granted, I'm still in the dating stage. So those of y'all out there that are married and in, committed relationships, I don't know, maybe you don't get this anymore, but when you go out on a date and your heart's racing and you're so excited and they lean in for that kiss and you're like, your heart's just racing a million miles a minute, but then when you actually kiss and it's like, your heart just lulls. And that pause I think is what these fragrances do. And maybe that's why they're an aphrodisiac, because that moment of calm and that lull is captured in these scents. If that makes sense. Regardless, Cavort is, again, one of those grounding, smooth, round scents. These fragrances are on the higher range in terms of price. Fragrance du Bois doesn't mess around. They are $350 for, let's see, an 100 milliliter. Oh, that's funny. So reading the description of Cavort on the Fragrance du Bois website, an intensely intimate fragrance that evokes the frisson of excitement of a first encounter. So a sultry saffron-infused aroma hints at the anticipation of what lies behind that stolen second glance. This is another fragrance that is meant to capture that moment of enrapture. This is a unisex fragrance, so for both men and women. I think for me, this fragrance seems to lean a little bit more on the masculine side because of that saffron and the cinnamon at the entrance of the fragrance. It then dies down and you have more of the patchouli and the incense, the sandalwood, the labdanum coming out. You do get waves of the floral notes that are in the middle notes, the ylang-ylang, the rose, orange blossom, and jasmine, I think kind of freshen the fragrance up a bit without making it too weighted or too heavy. I think it's a perfect scent for winter, for fall or winter, but probably more winter because it is a very it's a heavy fragrance. Fragrance du Bois tends to have great longevity, moderate to extreme duration, as opposed to Sillage tends to be more moderate, middle of the road. And when I say Fragrance du Bois, I mean both of these scents. There's actually another one that I really enjoy, Minuit et Demi, which was created by Demi Rawling, or in collaboration with Demi Rawling, and I really enjoy it. It actually reminds me a bit of CK1, like back in the 90s, but that one doesn't have the longevity that I wish it had, but we're not discussing that right now. For me, I think the heaviest notes in this fragrance are that saffron, cinnamon, the patchouli, and the incense, a hint of the labdanum. So if those notes intrigue you in a fragrance, I definitely recommend you to check out Cavort by Fragrance du Bois. And last but not least of our aphrodisiac, is that a word? Aphrodisiac? Works for me. Scents is Secret Tryst, again, by Fragrance du Bois. In all honesty, neither of these scents is one that I would particularly wear. They just are a bit too spicy for me, maybe a bit too masculine. Secret Tryst Extrait de Parfum by Fragrance du Bois is considered an amber floral fragrance, unisex, so for men and women, it's a new fragrance. Launched in 2021, top notes cardamom, saffron, and bergamot. Middle notes vetiver, jasmine, cedar, and rose. Base notes olibanum, patchouli, labdanum, and vanilla. It starts off, you smell the cardamom, you smell the saffron. As it dies down, you get more of that vetiver, the cedar, and the rose. With a bit more, the patchouli, the labdanum, and the vanilla are a bit more strong in the fragrance. Again, this is more of a heavy, rounded perfume, but it has more bite. I think that the cardamom and the saffron, maybe the vetiver, gives it more of a, I don't want to say a spring-like scent, but definitely lighter in weight than the Cavort. I'd say this fragrance would do fine as a daytime scent, an office scent. I think it would wear well in the spring. So, you know, right now where it's February, we're entering into those cooler but yet warmer spring-like days. I think this would be an excellent scent for that. It is a bit heavy, so I don't know that it would be a very good summer scent. I think the patchouli, the labdanum, it just makes it a bit too weighted for summer days. It's definitely lighter than the Cavort. So Secret Tryst, as the name may imply, it's reminiscent of those who crave passion with a sense of adventure. Those nights that you want to repeat but shouldn't. The Fragrance du Bois website lists Secret Tryst as having top notes of bergamot, saffron, Indian cardamom. Middle notes rose, jasmine, cedarwood, and vetiver. Base notes patchouli, frankincense, cistus, and vanilla. Which may be why it's not one of my favorites. Frankincense isn't one of my favorite notes in a fragrance. The Fragrance du Bois website lists it as raw, but yet earthy with the musk of the vetiver and the frankincense, and I think that's an excellent way of describing it. Even though this fragrance isn't one that is particularly my style, I appreciate it. Fragrance du Bois are high quality fragrances, and you can tell when you experience them. You get a really smooth, how many times can I say smooth? It's an authentic and unique fragrance, and you can tell the quality in the ingredient when you experience the fragrance. It doesn't smell synthetic or have any kind of artificial quality to it, if you know what I mean. The fragrance smells like they're using true, authentic essential oils or expressions of the notes used. So if you do enjoy notes of frankincense and more spicy notes of saffron and cardamom, then I definitely recommend that you check out Secret Tryst by Fragrance du Bois. Again, $350, a little steep, but again, in my opinion, you pay for what you get. So the more expensive a perfume, in most cases, equals a higher quality, higher concentration perfume that probably will perform well because it does use those higher quality, true oils of the ingredients used. So there you have it. 6 options of alluring and enticing fragrances that you might want to don for your Valentine's Day event, or perhaps a gift for that object of your affections. All links to these fragrances will be listed below, as well as a list of sites where you can obtain a sample of these fragrances. My name is Katherine Cole. Thank you for joining me. If you are not a subscriber and you would like to join our community of fellow beauty and fragrance lovers, please feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when my new videos come out. If you have tried any of these fragrances or have thoughts on them, please share in the comment section. I love to hear what you guys think. Let's start a conversation. If they worked for you, and we'll say you wore them to entice your significant other and you were successful, let me know too. I'd be interested to hear if these fragrances really do deliver what they suggest wearing them will bring. If you want to support my channel and you enjoy videos like this, please make sure to give it a like so that I know that you guys enjoy these videos and I'll continue making them. Also, if you choose to purchase any of these fragrances and you use the links that I list below, I might get a small commission for the sale, in which case it just goes to purchasing more products and sharing them with you through these videos. I don't expect it, but I would appreciate it. I hope y'all are doing well, and happy Valentine's Day to you all. Love and appreciate you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.